Welcome back to the One Step Journey podcast, season 2, episode 2. We are back.
We're back.
We are back.
The One Step Journey.
It still sounds really weird to say. I'm going to be honest.
I love it.
I love it. I almost had to catch myself saying the old title, but we're
100%.
back here, man. Back for episode 2. It's a gorgeous Sunday out here.
Beautiful day out. You've crushed the day. 3 miles in.
Easy.
My boy's hustling.
We're good.
We're here.
We got 2 weeks till
2
race
weeks
day.
till race day, man.
From today.
From today.
Wow. Yeah.
Literally at this time, it's 11:05 right now. At this time, we'll have already been completed with the race for 3 hours.
Easily.
Yeah.
Easily. For those of you that don't know, Jeffrey and I were doing a 10K. Mm-hmm. We have, I think, 3 or 4 other people who are part of our group.
That are doing it, yeah.
And it's going to be in Chicago. This is my first race ever.
Yeah.
And I'm super excited. Jeffrey asked me about a month ago. I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
I've been training. I probably have been running about 6 to 7, maybe 8 miles a week last couple weeks.
That's good.
I'm going to start to, I think this next week I'll push it a little bit, and then I'm going to tailor off as we get close to race week, right?
It's a 10K, so 6.2 miles.
Yeah.
Nice little refresher. Want to kind of just game plan and see where we're at.
Yeah.
And running season really just started
Yeah.
in the Midwest here because finally the sun's out.
Oh, my gosh.
It's going to be a great time.
Yeah.
First race, downtown. It'll be in the city. It's the Lifetime half marathon and 10K. We're doing the 10K, like I said, and it should be an amazing time, bro. Wait till you just see the community,
Yes.
the energy. It's just going to be really good.
Yeah.
I'm excited to do it with you, man.
Likewise, brother. I can't wait, man.
But you know what I'm also excited about?
Yeah.
How episode 1 turned out on the One Step Journey.
Oh, my goodness.
Shout out to Chris.
Wow.
That was an amazing way, I think, to start the rebrand, the repivot, and really give the listeners a tease of what's to come.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that it was amazing conversation. It flowed well. We dove deep onto some really good topics and things that are really relevant nowadays, right? Whether it be the college and just kind of restructuring your mindset and your focus and a little bit more of the background into, me and his story and just, the way to think and all that kind of stuff. And it was great.
Yeah, it was phenomenal, and I appreciate Chris taking time out of his night to join us on the first episode of the One Step Journey.
Yeah.
And one takeaway that I really had was just like you said, just your whole perspective shift.
Yeah.
When I went back to go re-listen, everything just shifted again.
It shifted again.
It's so awesome to hear someone who's a little bit older, a little bit more experienced, has seen the world, has seen generations shift.
Yeah.
From decade to decade, and it just giving his perspective on it because it's going to be completely different. And I'm hopeful too in the next 10, 15, 20 years, we'll have a similar viewpoint that he had and share with the youth as well. I think really
that
cool.
we definitely will. It's kind of like the point that I brought up on the podcast where we were really the last generations to grow up before the technology boom, before the iPhones, before all the social media. I mean, we were really out there at the playground with our friends and doing all of that kind of stuff and having to pass notes to girls in school and doing all of that seriously.
Right.
And being able to watch how technology has evolved. I mean, that laptop right there was non-existent when we were kids.
Yeah.
And everything that we're doing for this podcast, the iPad and all that stuff was non-existent. And to be able to see over the last 15, 20 years how everything has evolved, imagine in another 15 to 20. So we're really going to be able to speak to that when our kids are, growing up, and then obviously when we're grandparents at that point, right? It's being able to see how everything's evolved. I mean, think about it. There weren't any electric cars, I don't think, when we were growing up.
No way.
And now those things are extremely prominent with Tesla, and then you've got all the, what is it, Rivian or whatever the other brand is that I'm seeing a lot now, and just how that's shifting. And it's wild to really think about too. I think my biggest takeaway from the conversation is, these are conversations I've had with Chris before, and you see how he said generations gravitate towards different things. And I think the generation that came after us really gravitated towards the technology. And I think now the younger generations are starting to maybe kind of push away from it, right? Because they're seeing what it's doing to the norms in society and how people are so sucked into it. And you kind of see now there's a shift. People are starting to go away into more secluded living and, buying a little bit more land and going quote unquote off the grid and really taking their privacy back. I mean, that's just something it's wild to see.
Yeah.
I feel after COVID, a lot of people woke up from the quote unquote matrix, right?
Agreed.
People were able to really take a breath and slow down and really shift. Okay, whoa, this is what I've been doing, and I've just been stuck on autopilot and just living in the day-to-day and just waking up and jumping on the train and going into the city and working and then coming home and just the mundane and the routine. people have kind of they've woken up, like I said, and it's shifted. You know?
Yeah, it's crazy too. I mean, just to piggyback off that, I agree, and it's just wild to think about, you know, where technology has came the last several years.
Yeah.
Right, and like where we're at now is what people planned for 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And like right now, what's being planned 10 years ahead of us is taking place right now to think about.
Mid-2030s.
Right, and
what's going to be going on?
We don't know.
I know.
But like that's why I really appreciate the perspective of Chris, because if you look around and see what's going on, you can predict what's going to happen.
Yeah, you just have to pay attention.
But not many people do.
No,
is what we talked about. We're what did we say we are? We're NPCs.
NPCs, non-playable characters or whatever, just bots, just like walking.
Well, we are though. I mean, if you don't live with that intention or really understand your surroundings and have that awareness, we're going to be NPCs.
You are an NPC,
and it's sad.
There were definitely some huge key takeaways, and I think that's really. It was our objective, right, for the rebrand and the reshift, is leaving the listeners with some key nuggets and takeaways after each and every episode, which kind of brings us to the next point. You want to tell them how we're really looking to structure and move forward and what to really expect in the coming days and the coming episodes?
Absolutely, man. One thing that we really wanted to do is just really be intentional. I think that's the main focus. Still overcoming adversity and challenges, and there's going to be, you know, obstacles that we're going to have to endure. But one thing is really, you know, being intentional and what can we offer beyond just the whole sports talk and all the other things we've talked about on the previous, you know, episodes, is every Wednesday, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be posting a poll on our social media, on our Instagram, and we want to hear from you guys. What are some topics you guys want Jeffrey and I to cover?
Yeah.
Right? And we want to focus on that for about 20 to 30 minutes each episode. We're going to hone in on one topic as opposed to going down all these different rabbit holes and loopholes.
Yeah.
Fun, but we want to really emphasize one topic.
Like one topic kind of built around like a question.
Exactly.
Right?
Whatever that may be. And we'll get to today's question in a second here. But so expect that on Wednesdays. We're going to be dropping that on our social media at the One Step Journey podcast on Instagram.
Yeah.
We're going to keep following for our social medias. I mean, this whole rebrand, we're going to be starting to be more intentional,
more
active,
and intentional.
TikTok, Instagram, you know, YouTube, all that. So just be on the lookout for that. Every Wednesdays around 5:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, we are going to be releasing a poll. It's going to be there for about 24 hours. Share what you want us to talk about. What are some topics?
Ask a question, whatever you want us to talk about. We want us to expand on anything you're struggling with.
Yeah.
Anything that you want to hear our insight and our input on. Just put it on there.
Yeah. Or even if there's like a certain niche that you want us to cover, if we don't know, we can, within our network, we can find a guest that could touch on those topics too.
I like that.
So we can definitely use our resources to find answers for you. But we want to hear from you guys. I think that's the main thing. So share with us on Wednesdays. Be on the lookout for that. And without further ado, you want to introduce what the topic is for today,
I think
Jeffrey?
The topic today is an amazing question that a lot of people are asking themselves, and they're going through and they're struggling with. Are you working for passion, or are you just working for the paycheck? Woo! Is it just for the paycheck?
Wow.
That's a big one.
That is a big one, especially for, I feel like, our generation.
Yes.
Huge.
It's huge.
Huge, man. There's so many things that are going on. There's so many things that I want to touch on this topic, but I want to first start with you. Are you working for passion? Or are you working for a paycheck right now in your current role?
In my current role, in my day-to-day, it's kind of an answer of both, to be honest.
Fair.
Right? Obviously, we need the paycheck.
For sure.
So, of course, I'm working for the paycheck. But I think with what I'm currently doing in aesthetic medical sales, I actually am passionate about it, and I do enjoy it. So I think it's honestly leaning more towards working for the passion and having fun. Like, obviously, it's a grind, and it's a hassle, and it's stressful and all that. But I do enjoy it. I actually do.
You brought up a good point there. Because whatever we do, we're going to have some sort of stress and, hardship. It's going to happen. But what level is that like? What can you tolerate, right? So I think that's an important thing.
What threshold do you have?
Exactly. Because it stresses everywhere. No matter what you do, unless you're not working, I mean, you're still going to have stress by not working. But there's those different levels and fine line to it, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm glad that you have found the career where you're at right now.
A little bit more passionate.
Right.
100%. I would say in my previous role, it was definitely all for the paycheck.
I was
doing for 4 years before, and primarily IT, so information technologies, staffing, consulting, recruiting, it was definitely all for the paycheck. I knew it wasn't forever, but It was just being change, just
right,
stacking it up. You
right.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, which is fine.
Yeah, well, absolutely, bro. And I know we've had some conversations too about, those topics as well. I'm like, hey, like, should I take on another side hustle, another role, or is it worth the stress?
Is it worth the stress?
Right. And we've talked about that before, and I was like, bro, it's not.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
What
right?
about you? Is it just for the paycheck, or is it all 100% passion? You wake up every day just yearning.
Yeah. If you asked me 3 years ago, it was passion.
Yeah.
You asked me
3 minutes ago.
3 minutes ago, it's a no for me, dog.
Yeah.
It's changed, and one of the reasons for that, though, I've just pondered on that, and why my answer is the way that it is I'm able to branch out into other avenues of life and other avenues of experience and work and networking with people.
Yeah.
If I didn't take those chances and try something different, I would have known this other whole world existed, right? And then I would have been in my life, and I probably would have been miserable, and I would have been stuck, and I would have been doing it for the money because I would have had to have survived, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But now I'm at a point where I feel like I have options. So the job I'm in now, no, I don't like it. I'm doing it for a paycheck currently because I have to survive.
And how many more days is left? What, 13 you said?
15 school days on Monday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. It's wild. We're close.
Who's counting?
Not me.
Right?
But it's something that I knew I had to do. And I think that you have to understand and realize, I think, where you're going and what you have to do to get there, because you have to sacrifice, and sometimes you have to sacrifice a job you don't like.
You do.
For what the bigger picture is.
What the greater good is, right? Like a stepping stone. Like,
yeah.
I'm going to do this for a year. I'm going to save up some money, and then I'm going to start my business, or I'm going to start the venture.
And to take that chance on
yeah.
You have to.
100%.
You can't, I feel, this is my take on it, you can't just go in, like I said, just cold turkey, because sometimes, like, I get the perspective you want to just go in with plan A, but you also have to be realistic about what plan A is in your circumstance and situation, right? Do you have a family? Do you have kids? Do you have to provide for them? Like, what kind of bills do you have to pay? There's other things that you have to factor in.
The heavy-hitting questions that are really the main focus, right?
You have to be a little bit selfless in that regard, as opposed to being selfish.
Especially as you start adding the kids and other things like that into the equation, right?
I mean, your priorities shift.
Yeah.
Your priorities shift.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Shift tenfold.
Yeah. So I would say, like, for me, that's what my answer is. And I get it's a little bit tricky. And I want to encourage people, if you're in a similar situation, right, just take a step back, assess why you're doing what you're doing, see what other options you have, and create a plan.
Yeah.
There's people at my job, I understand they can't leave for X, Y, and Z reasons, whatever it is. Quite frankly, we all have choices, and we can make things happen.
Yeah.
But it's people don't want to go through another hardship to get to that point because for the comfortability.
Starting over, or doing a new thing, or failing, and then losing the comfortability. Right? It's a really tough thing, and I think that I was extremely fortunate growing up watching my dad, who pursued a lifelong career in teaching, right? And his answer was definitely for the passion. My dad absolutely loved what he did. So being able to watch my dad and admire my dad and just the sheer effort that he put into his craft and all of the after school activities and just involvement in the school with the kids and trying to go above and beyond to leave that greater footprint on every single student that he taught, being able to watch that really kind of instilled something in me of, okay, I need to really find what I'm passionate about, not just go do something for the paycheck. And unfortunately, I think in this country, like we were talking about before the podcast, a lot of people are stuck in that rut that you were just talking about, where you're working with them and you know that they can't leave due to X, Y, and Z. And unfortunately, that's the harsh reality for a lot of people out there, especially in our country, who are just, they're stuck. And the answer to their question is they're doing it for the paycheck. They're living paycheck to paycheck. I mean, we looked up the stat, the average household income, so combined income in our country is $74,580. And we know with the pricing and how expensive everything is, that's really not a lot.
I just want to clarify that it was combined.
Combined. It's a household
combined
income
of $74,000.
Yes,
$580.
A year.
Wow. That is wow. That's hard.
It is.
That's very difficult, especially within the world that we're living. It's just
And I would say
hard.
most of those combined, incomes in those households probably have a couple kids, in there.
2 to 3, at least 2 minimum, I would say, for sure.
100%.
Wow.
Which is wild to think about. Right?
Living that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle.
So as you think about it, right? Like you're house hunting right now, and I'm probably going to have to move into a new place, and just looking at the market and just knowing how expensive everything is. Now think about having a combined household income of that and kids that you have to feed, clothe, and do all that. Dude, I don't know, man.
And prepare for the future. Like, are they going to go to college? What are they? It's a lot. Dude.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot, man. So, and there are people who are stuck in those situations that we know. But we don't know, if that makes sense. That are within our circle because they're doing everything they can to provide.
Yeah.
And it's really just unfortunate, man. And it's, but it's the reality. And I want to let you know that there's hope out there. There's a lot of options. There's a lot of options out there. All it takes is just some time
and effort.
Go on the internet and just research a little bit. There's so many opportunities,
go on
man.
Google. It sounds so cheesy, but just go on there and just look up side hustles, side ways to make money.
It's so, and that's where I think too. And Chris talked about it too on our last episode. Is that find something that you're passionate about.
Yeah.
Don't chase the money. Find what you're passionate about. That's kind of what we're talking.
Money will follow.
Money will follow.
Yeah.
Right. If you're following for the money, you're not going to be passionate about it. Then you're going to burn out.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of within. Kind of like my situation, similarly, I guess enough. That's kind of where it's at, and it's just doesn't bring me joy.
Yeah,
I'm not
1,000%. I think me and you are very similar in at least one of our passions. We have a passion for people.
Yeah,
helping people.
Yes,
right. And in my current role, I'm very fortunate where partnering with my company, Cynosure Lutronic, is able to help the plastic surgeon, the dermatologist, the med spa owner, right? Integrate some amazing technology. And the amazing thing too is I'm also able to go in there and build a relationship with these said owners and almost form a little bit of like a consultant role. Right?
Yeah.
And help them, right? Sit down and help energy blend and help, like I said, integrate some new technologies that are going to increase their revenue and drive more foot traffic into their business and take their practice to the next level, right? And so that aligns with obviously my passion, like I said, passion for people and helping, right? And I would say in sales, I'm very fortunate because I'm actually selling technology that I know in every fiber of my body is good and that it works and that it will actually help them and do the things that I'm saying because as we know, a lot of salespeople out there are selling shit that they don't believe in, that they know doesn't work, which is something unfortunate. And going back into this whole realm and industry of sales, I told myself I didn't want to compromise my integrity and my morals and my values just for the paycheck, right? I wanted to go into an opportunity that I truly wholeheartedly believed was the right one, and I'm fortunate to have found that.
Yeah, amen, brother. I'm happy you were able to find that too, because I know that's big on your board of like a big checklist, right? In terms of like character-wise, right? Like, well, what does the company have to offer? Do my morals, do my values align with that, the core principles, which they do, and that's something that. If you can't answer that right now, I really challenge you to take a step back.
Think about it.
Really think about it, right? Because if not, then you're going to be living in there being a hamster wheel, right? You'd be in the rat race, as they say.
The hamster wheel it's real.
And it's going hard and fast. It is churning every single day when you think about it, man. So if you want to live a different life, and if you're in a situation where you're not happy with your job, take a step back. Take a step back, take inventory, reassess, realign, and figure out what you're passionate about. Write it down, though. Don't just think about it. Actually, write it down and visualize.
Write it down.
Write it down, and then take the necessary steps.
Let me ask you a question. So going back to the overall theme, are you working for passion or are you just working for a paycheck? There's obviously a lot of people out there that are going to have the same answer as me, is a little bit of both, right? It's going to lean a little bit one way. It could be towards more so the money or so towards the passion, which is totally fine. Is it okay if somebody is working something just for the money?
I'd say it's a double-edged sword. I say yes because money can do a lot of good. I think it can provide you the freedom. It can give you time to do things you want to do. If you want to spend more time with your family, if you want to travel, if you want to give back to the community, whatever your intention is with that. Flip side is money can be used in a very negative way. Yeah. Right? It could create bad habits.
Inhibit bad habits, bad lifestyle, bad choices.
You can go to the strip club and do coke off a stripper.
Coke and all that.
All that stuff. It's a double-edged sword. So I would say yes and no. And that's where it goes back to the morals and values that you have.
Yeah.
Right? Because, and who you're surrounded with, right? Because you could have the right intentions, have the money, have everything you want. It just takes one person to influence you to go down a path.
To go down a slippery slope.
And then once that snowball happens, it goes
it's hard
quick.
to stop. It's
hard
to
to stop, man. Yeah.
How
about you?
I think that it would be okay, right? I think the main focus, regardless of what your answer is, whether it's heavy on the passion or it's heavy on the money, is having a work-life balance. That's a huge thing for me because I've seen so many situations, right? Obviously, it's portrayed a lot in the movies where dad's got the job and he's so focused on it. He's making a lot of money, he's providing for the family and doing all of that, but it's taking away from the family time, the relationship with the son, the daughter, the family, the wife, things of that nature. And so one thing I've really promised myself is regardless of whatever I'm doing, to still be Jeffrey outside of work. And sometimes it's hard to turn the switch off and not be, salesman Jeffrey and be so focused about deals and accounts and meetings and calls and all of that and just turning it off and just being me and enjoying family time or friend time. So it's good to have friends like you and to have people like my dad and my mom and who I can lean on and who are going to hold me accountable to make sure that I'm turning it off and still having myself outside of work. I think as long as you're able to do that, because some people listen, like if I'm in a job and I'm making a good amount of money, right, and it's not completely compromising who I am and doing podcasts and running and having fun and spending time with my family, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Right. Why not? If you're in a job and you're making a boatload of money, but it's not bleeding into the rest of your life, I mean, fuck it.
Right.
But you also want to not just work the job that's making you miserable for the money. So like you said, it's a double-edged sword, and you kind of have to take a step back and analyze the entire situation. But, I mean, in short answer, I think it's okay.
Yeah. Well, and
to a certain extent.
Completely agree. I think to a certain extent. And I think one more perspective here that just kind of popped into my mind is that and this is, I guess, in some sense what I try to do within my business is that you have to, just like what Chris said, every put has his take, right? If you want to make X, Y, and Z amount of money, you have to sacrifice X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Right? You could do that for 2 or 3 years, make a boatload of money, and then from there you could start to scale back a little bit so you have more time. So you have to sacrifice up front heavy, and then you can enjoy your 30s, your 40s, and so forth. So if your 20s really invest into making money, and then enjoy it in your 30s, 40s, 50s,
100%,
and so forth, right? And that's another perspective too that I'm trying to do right now, currently within my businesses that I have.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Really hustle now, hit the grindstone, head down now. So then, when the time comes and you guys get married in 400 days,
right?
And
then kids
and things of that nature start coming along, you don't have to work as hard.
My priorities are going to shift. There's no choice.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm in some ways very blessed that I'm the youngest in my friend group, because I can see that all my friends, most of my friends from college have kids,
married
multiple kids,
all of it.
And like we see them when we can. They're still the boys always love, always. It's just different.
It's a crazy shift.
It's a huge shift.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to accept. I'm like, why am I not seeing these guys all the time? But I have to realize it's a different part of their life that they're in.
Married,
the whole
nine
nine
stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
It's tough though.
It's really wild to be. I'm going to start seeing that a lot, right? Like you're getting married next year. Austin's having a kid now in like 6 weeks.
Oh my God, that's
gonna
crazy,
shift, right?
dude.
He's going to end up getting married, and it's just like being able to see that. It's wild. It's also so beautiful too.
It is beautiful. I don't want to take that away. Me personally, change is hard a lot of the time, so it's like it does hit a little bit.
Sometimes you need a little bit of that kick in the ass, though.
You do though. You do. It's just that reality check and that perspective. Like, hey, it's you have to be selfless instead of selfish.
Yeah,
that's what it comes down
That's
to.
Big.
It's hard. It's hard
big.
to do, man. But yeah, I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts too about today's episode. I thought we kind of dove deep into this. I feel like we can touch on this so much more.
Yeah, we could.
And
it's definitely a recurring theme.
It is a recurring theme.
And it's a question that we're going to have to ask ourselves, every month, every 2 months, every 6 months is, do I love what I'm doing? To kind of go back to what we were saying, I know that what I'm doing right now isn't what I want to do forever.
That's okay.
Right? And that's totally okay. I don't see myself doing this in 20 years.
But you also have a plan too. That's the thing. You're not just going through the mundane routine. You have a plan.
I need to get back into the fitness industry, bro. I want to open a gym.
We can talk off camera. We can talk off camera.
I definitely see myself owning a gym in the future.
I could
with a couple locations.
I could see. Yes,
creating
I could be
the best environment
so
for people. Literally, just having everything.
You could. Oh my God. I really, dude. I really could.
Yeah.
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 There's
so many things that we can talk about. But that's okay, though. And I took this knowing it, and I took the last job knowing that it wasn't going to be forever, right? And going back to what we were saying is it's okay sometimes to go into a role, and you know that it's a stepping stone. You know, like one of my friends, shout out Alexandria, she took the job that she's doing right now as she's building her business on the side. And I said, listen, take this job, crush it, do what you got to do. Give it 100%, like we say to do to everything. Mm-hmm. But just know that this isn't forever. While you're building your business and you're doing all of that, just do this in the meantime. It's not forever. Do what you got to do. And then the minute that your business and everything starts picking up, fuck this other job.
See ya.
Done.
Peace. It's Tyreek Hill. Peace.
Tyreek Hill, like you're gone, right?
For real though.
Which is fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because another thing too, and I'll be the first to say it, a lot of these companies that we're working for, especially in corporate America, right? They don't give a fuck about us.
You are
use them.
You are replaceable.
You are replaceable.
100%.
If they fired you right now, they would have the job posting up by EOD, end of day, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So milk them and do what you got to do, right? And I'm not saying go in there and half-ass it.
No,
like
never.
Anything that
never.
we do, give it your all, hustle and do it, right? But you always have to focus on yourself and your family and your journey and your dreams, right? And it's. What is the one quote that we know? A lot of these corporate companies, they pay you the salary to forget your dreams.
Yes.
Which is heavy.
That's a scary drug.
It is a very scary drug. And just as we've seen, these years fly by, the mundane, the rat race, the stress.
Oh my God.
They pay you to forget your dreams.
That's heavy. Wow.
That's wild to think about.
That is wild to think about. And I think we should leave it right there.
Leave it right
as
there.
that last quote right there.
They pay you to forget your dreams.
Holy cow.
As always, guys, thank you so much for the continuous support. Thank you for tuning back in to the One Step Journey and taking another step with us on this journey.
Thank you.
As always, new episodes every single Tuesday. Thank you so much for listening, watching, viewing, and subscribing. We still love you guys. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace. They pay you to forget your dreams. That's a crazy one, bro.
Crazy one.
If you actually think about that.